Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and today I'm going to talk about a keyboard this time, and this is called the Mu TKL. Now, there's a chance that you're into audio if you're watching this video, because that's usually what I focus on this channel, but I think there's a little bit of an overlap of the keyboard hobby or enthusiast community and audio. It seems that I see a lot of people talking about both products quite often, especially on my Discord server. So this company, the EMU, if you've heard of the teak or the walnut headphones, well, the same person who created those is behind helping to create this keyboard. And the idea of this is the co-founder, Ming-Tat Chen. He was the co-founder of Creative Audio. He's really into audio and wood, and that's why the headphones are obviously adorned with wood, and this TKL keyboard is adorned with zebra wood. Now, Mu is a new brand, hence the label on the keyboard, Mu by Chan, and you're gonna see more products come from this company over time. But I wanted to focus on this keyboard because a lot of keyboards out there are made of plastics and metals, and the few keyboards that are made in wood, some of them can get very expensive, some are less expensive, but this is kind of a unique product because there aren't really many that I know of wooden keyboards that have a full TKL setup. A lot of them are like 65s or a more compact board, because materials with wood, it can get expensive kind of quick. And what's cool about this is it doesn't mean you're getting like a larger piece of wood that's more cheaply made. I mean, this thing is like a pretty gorgeous piece of keyboard, and that's why I liked it, because if you are the type of person who has headphones with wood, maybe you have the teak or the walnut, maybe you have a ZMF headphone or something from other brands that are known to use wood, even the FIO FT1 for example. Well, I'm not an esports player on keyboard and mouse. I play on keyboard and mouse sometimes, but a lot of my game time really comes down to using controllers. Shout out to FlyDigi, because I love their controllers. So I didn't need like state-of-the-art Hall effect keyboard switches. And as much as I like them and I like what that's doing for the industry and moving forward, that's less of a selling point to me. What is more of a selling point is the feature set of the keyboard, typing feel, sound, and general aesthetics. And that's why I wanted people to know about this keyboard, because a lot of keyboards have kind of a cold feeling on your desk, and wood kind of brings a whole new dimension to it. So first, you may not have even known that this type of keyboard existed, and if you didn't, well, this is a whole new can of worms. And two, this particular offering from a lot of keyboards I have tested is a wonderful keyboard, and there's a few things and reasons why I like it. One of the features is this running the QMK firmware, which is VIA compatible. So if you download the JSON file off of their website, and I'll have a link in the description below for that, import it into the VIA web browser. There's a link in the description for that. After you import the JSON file, you can customize your key assignments, and it also helps you see what's assigned to it by default. There is a quick start guide on the website that kind of shows you the general layout and assignments, but if you want to customize or remap a lot of the keys, and when you hold down function, you have a whole new layer to work with, you can use that software to tweak it further. Now, what I like about this keyboard is it can look kind of light, but it still has some weight to it. It weighs about 1.3 kilograms or 2.8 pounds or so, and these are double shot PBT caps. They're white caps with a shine through because you have the legends towards the front of the board, and it looks really, really nice when it's lit up. Another unique design choice that I like, aside from the wood, because that really is, to be honest, that's the standout feature to me. You have this gorgeous back plate that has the Mu logo on it, which is the Chinese phonetic symbol for wood and represents Chan's past efforts at EMU. Now, what I have mixed feelings about is the riser system. The design is amazing. I love the way this looks. It's a pretty brilliant idea having this magnet system where you would basically use one or the other. Now, if you don't use any risers, it kind of kicks so flat that I don't see too many people using it like this. The profile is too far away from me. So you have a 4-degree riser, which is this piece of wood here, and it snaps in. It's really secure. I've never had that fall off for two reasons. And that'll give you a 4-degree lift. And if that's not enough, this has a couple different ways you can mount the 7-degree riser. You can see that there's two magnets on this particular stick, if you will. So if you mount it this way, it goes along this edge, and if you mount it this way, it'll be a little bit more centered. So this is where I have my only real gripe, because this is the only two rubber feet on the whole bottom. When you use a wooden riser, depending on your desk material, it can slide a little bit. And for more competitive, kind of like sweaty gaming, if you still want to use this for gaming, which it has all the traditional things that you'd want, like N key rollover, stuff like that, this might move a little bit. So the first mod I would do is use something like a grip tape or some other rubber foot add-on on the base of that. maybe start with the smaller one, because once you add something that makes this thicker to be more grippy, that might be the angle that you're looking for in the first place. Because this is wood, I think you might get some inconsistency with like down to the millimeter of how straight the board is. And I only say that because I have a lot more resistance here with a lot less here. That's pretty much the same force, and it always wants to slide. Like if I push it in the center, you can see how it always kicks that way. That's just my particular board. I don't know if yours will do the same. The feedback I provided to them is I wish the riser had a little bit of a grip on it. Otherwise, I love the design and I love the looks. And frankly, on my desk, this is a really nice cosmetic upgrade because it doesn't look like every other keyboard on the market. This ships with the Matcha Latte V2 switches, which are a linear switch. It's a 45 gram actuation force, and it has a pretty solid bottoming out. You can hear it there without the keys, the keycap put on, and with it, it's not a super quiet board. It has more of a hard bottoming out. So if you like a softer feel, I would consider switching it out. There was a bare bones kit that was sold on the website for $180, at least at the time of this review, versus the $240 retail. I do like the overall performance of the board, so I still think the full built kit is a really solid value. But if the DIY version, the build your own version at $180 ever comes back in stock and you want a different key feel, well, maybe that'll be a better way to go. But this is a really solid. It's not tactile, it's linear, but I feel like because of the hard bottoming out, I have a tactile sensation because I know exactly where my keystrokes are finishing and ending. And I don't know if you noticed before, but these are south-facing. The whole board itself is a south-facing board, so you can pretty much install any switch or a keycap that you want. It uses a 5-pin switch, and these particular switches have very low wobble. So if you're looking for a high stability switch, the stabs on this are good. If I tilt this up and you start to wiggle things, it's really solid. I mean, there's like no room whatsoever. You can see just a little bit of wiggle. That's probably the easiest way to showcase it. But considering the price overall and that it's using wood and how well the board itself is made with the PCB and the back foam, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. These aren't the most expensive switches on the market, so I think obviously if they did that, it would have driven the price of the keyboard up even more. I want to show you how to customize some of the RGB settings real quick, but before I plug it in, did you notice that there are 2 USB-C ports on it? And I found that you can use either one. That is super cool because depending on your desk, that gives you kind of some good flexibility there. Now, as you can see, I have this nice soft baby blue. It's like a teal color. That is because I found that the insert button on just above the delete key, if you press function and tap that, you can cycle through a few key RGB colors, and that is going to give you the ability to interact or change how certain other profiles work. So mine out of the box was like this red color. So if I hold down function and hit page up, you're going to see some changes as far as the rainbow effect. You have pulsing, and you notice it's pulsing in red. That is because I set red on this button. And originally, the quick start guide kind of shows you how to change RGB modes and then up and down for brightness. And then you can disable RGB altogether by pressing the home button. So I'm going to turn RGB back on, keep the brightness up. This is your speed. So if you're doing a pulse effect, that's set the speed to 0. If you go up 1, it's going to be a slower effect. And if you go up all the way to the right, I should say, that's going to make the speed even faster. So if I hold this down and press insert again, now I have yellow selected. And if I go through my effects, you notice how it's favoring yellow instead of red. And when it does this pulsing, like this one's doing a wipe from left and right, and yellow is the color that's being used. So let's go to one that's a little bit more dominant. So there's green, that's nice and bold and bright, and hit page up. Look at that, the green is at the top and it fades to blue at the bottom. and now it's fading with green from left to right. So just keep that in mind. If you don't like certain color effects, it might be because you didn't set what your primary or a preferred primary color would be. So hold down function, hit insert until you get to the primary you want. It's not like a huge selection to choose from, but it's enough for me to customize. And this is actually the way I've done it. Instead of using green, I switched to teal. So it is basically illuminated in white with a slow fading teal going through it, just to kind of do something a little bit different. Just in case you wanted to hear how this keyboard sounded to a couple others, just to kind of mix it up, this is just the Corsair K65 Plus. It's actually been a wireless keyboard I've been using quite a bit lately, and this is my custom built Sign 65 from Wind. I love this board. I don't use it too much because I didn't have enough of the extra buttons that I typically like. On the TKL from Moo, I actually remapped these top 3 buttons here for my media control. So I have like volume up and down and then mute, and then these buttons are helping to change tracks because I'm really into audio. So that helped. Anyway, this is again what it sounds like. And then if I switch to the Wind or the Sign 65, now this is a much more expensive board. It's about double the price. So that's to be expected to an extent, but again, I wanted to put it in perspective. And here's the Corsair K65 Plus. You can hear like the difference in the keycaps mostly because this is more of like a rattly sound to it. I actually like the board characteristics themselves as far as bottoming out. It doesn't really have any of a ring, but there's no like thock sound. So if you want something that sounds a little bit more direct, this board has that. So here's the thing. This board is a premium feeling board. The sound isn't going to be for everybody, but every single keyboard has unique sound properties and feel, and that's why there's such a variety, because we have different preferences. So there's no real saying that like one is significantly better or worse than the other. Wood has its own resonance sound. It has a unique sound to it. I've never had a keyboard sound like this, and I probably have about 20, maybe 25 keyboards or so, if I had to guess. But it has a CNC aluminum or milled aluminum backplate. It's a top plate mounted board. So if you are looking for gasket mount or top plate, I just wanted to let you know it's top plate. That does affect how stiff it feels. There's like 0 flex in this particular design, and that's part of what's impacting the way it sounds and feels when you type, of course. I don't mind that it's a top plate design. I usually have less typing errors because of that. And again, I don't really use or rely on Hall effect switches. So there's gonna be the whole debate of, you know, get wooting or whatever for certain gamers out there, but there's a lot of good keyboard varieties out there. This is much better for how I like to use things. I think it looks amazing in my room. The aesthetics are a huge thing, and so is the typing feel and the build quality. And I think when you start factoring in all of that together with this, the price is actually quite reasonable, especially when you compare it to other wood variants out there, when you factor in their build quality, feature set, how many key switches you have, and all of that stuff. And that about wraps up the review, which is a little bit short by my standards, but I wanted to do this just so people knew this keyboard existed. I really, really like this keyboard. I haven't found a wooden keyboard before that I liked the overall package so much, especially when you factor in the price, the feature set, the overall quality, it being a TKL instead of a 65, for example. So there's a lot of things that came together that make this board enticing for me. Not one board is enticing for everybody. I'm not going to skirt around that, but I hope you found this helpful and learned something about a board that maybe you didn't know existed. So I will have links in the description below if you want to purchase this. This was sent to me for review, but I have no marketing or affiliate links in the description, and I don't get to keep this. If I do keep it, I will be purchasing it just like I would a normal customer. So I have no monetary benefit from this. I just love the whole idea of this board, and I think it looks amazing on my desk. And if you have a desk that's similar to mine, maybe you have some classy headphones next to it, this is just match made in heaven. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd love to see you at the next video. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.